Every wrestling icon, every main event superstar, and every champion who has ever held gold high above their head has a story. But what if I told you that long before they were selling out arenas, many of your heroes were living lives that looked a lot like yours? Before the pyro, the entrance music, and the roar of the crowd, there was the daily grind, the 9 to 5, the hustle to make ends meet while chasing a dream that seemed impossible. Today we're talking about the jobs they had before they were famous. They were stocking shelves, answering phones, and even delivering water. They were clocking in and clocking out, all while dreaming of performing for millions. It's a powerful reminder that behind every larger-than-life persona is a real person who had to start somewhere. So get ready to see your heroes in a completely new light, because some of these are going to shock you. Before we kick things off, who do you think had the most surprising job before making it big? Drop your guesses in the comments below, and let's see who gets it right by the end of the video. And if you enjoy peeling back the curtain on the lives of your favorite wrestlers, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Number 10, AJ Styles, water delivery man, and more. Kicking off our list is a man often described with one word: phenomenal. For over 2 decades, AJ Styles has built a legacy as one of the greatest wrestlers of his generation in TNA, New Japan, and WWE. He's a multi-time world champion and a Grand Slam winner in 2 different companies. But before he was the phenomenal one, Alan Neil Jones was just a young guy from Georgia trying to make a living. Growing up in a low-income household, his family couldn't afford cable TV, so he wasn't a kid who grew up idolizing Hulk Hogan every Saturday morning. He got into amateur wrestling in high school and was good enough to earn a partial scholarship to college. But a partial scholarship doesn't pay all the bills, especially when you have a young family to support. To make ends meet, AJ worked a ton of different jobs. He mowed lawns, he drove an ambulance, and in the job that perfectly shows his humble beginnings, he delivered large bottles of water for a company called Aquapure. Just imagine that for a second. The man whose high-flying offense would one day redefine wrestling was driving a truck and hauling heavy water bottles door to door. It was tough, manual labor, but it was honest work that paid the bills. This wasn't just about making money, it was about building a future. And for AJ, that future was centered around his family. Even when his friends pushed him toward pro wrestling, AJ was hesitant. With a wife and adult responsibilities, it felt like a fantasy. When WWE came calling with a developmental contract in 2002, it was for just $500 a week and would have required him to relocate to Cincinnati. He famously turned it down. The move would have disrupted his wife's college plans, as she was working hard to become a teacher, and AJ made the decision to put her dream first. That selfless decision forced him down a different path to TNA, where he became the company's cornerstone for over a decade. When he finally made his spectacular debut at the 2016 Royal Rumble, he wasn't some unknown rookie, he was a global sensation. His journey from delivering water to main eventing WrestleMania is a testament to hard work, patience, and putting family first, proving that sometimes the longer road leads to the most phenomenal destination. Number 9, Brandi Rhodes, figure skater and news anchor. In the modern wrestling world, Brandi Rhodes has worn a lot of hats. She's been a ring announcer, a wrestler, a manager, and the chief brand officer for AEW during its formative years. But to understand her drive and adaptability, you have to look back at her life before wrestling, a life that was already packed with high-level competition and on-camera professionalism. Born in Michigan, Brandi's first dream had nothing to do with wrestling and everything to do with ice. At just 4 years old, she became a competitive figure skater, a passion she pursued for an incredible 17 years. She trained at the prestigious Detroit Skating Club, home to Olympians, with her own sights set on that same goal. This experience gave her an early taste of the grueling discipline, showmanship, and resilience she'd later use in the wrestling ring. She eventually retired from competitive skating to focus on her education, earning a full scholarship to the University of Michigan. She later moved to Miami, where she earned a master's degree in broadcast journalism from the University of Miami. She put that degree to immediate use, landing a job as a local news anchor and reporter. For 2 years, she was the serious professional delivering the day's news to television audiences. But she found the job unfulfilling and decided to pivot again, leveraging her time in Miami to model and act. It was in 2011 that her agent called with an unexpected offer, a tryout with WWE. With her athletic background as a skater and her polished on-camera experience as a journalist, she was a natural fit. She signed a developmental contract and started her journey in FCW as a ring announcer named Eden Styles. From there, her career took off, but it was all built on the foundation of her past lives, the poise and discipline of a competitive figure skater and the unflappable professionalism of a news anchor. Number 8, the Usos, office furniture installers. For over a decade, Jimmy and Jey Uso have been the gold standard for tag team wrestling. They're 8-time tag team champions with the longest title reign in WWE history and were central figures in the epic Bloodline saga. As the sons of Hall of Famer Rikishi and members of the legendary Anoa'i dynasty, you might think their path to stardom was paved with gold from birth. But before they were main event Jey and UC Jimmy, the twin brothers had a job that's about as far from WWE glamour as you can get. After playing college football, the path to wrestling wasn't immediate. The phone didn't just ring with a WWE contract. Instead, they found themselves in Pensacola, Florida, doing manual labor to make ends meet. And they weren't alone. They were joined by their cousin, who would later become the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. Their job? Installing office furniture. Picture it. 3 future WrestleMania main eventers, 3 pillars of a wrestling dynasty, spending their days lifting heavy desks, assembling chairs, and setting up cubicles in sterile office buildings. It was grueling, unglamorous work that required teamwork and precision, skills that, in a way, would perfectly translate to a tag team match down the line. This period stands as a stark reminder that even for wrestling royalty, the journey often involves paying dues through blue-collar jobs. They started their official wrestling training in 2009 and signed with WWE a year later. Their evolution from generic babyfaces to the street-savvy, sneaker-wearing, trash-talking Usos we know today was a long process built on years of grinding. Their story shows that while heritage might open a door, it's the hard work, whether in a training facility or on a furniture installation job, that gives you the character and hunger to walk through it and build a legacy all your own. Number 7, Christian Cage, construction worker. For nearly 30 years, Christian Cage has been a constant force in professional wrestling. From his time in the Brood with Edge, to his World Heavyweight Championship runs, to his chilling patriarch persona in AEW, Christian has proven to be one of the most versatile and enduring performers ever. He's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. But long before he was Captain Charisma, a young Jey Uso was working tough, blue-collar jobs, swinging a hammer instead of hitting a kill switch. Growing up in Canada, Christian and his best friend Edge were obsessed with becoming wrestlers. While Edge eventually got his break and signed a WWE deal, Christian's path took a little longer. To support himself while training on the unforgiving independent scene under trainers like Ron Hutchinson, he turned to manual labor. He worked in a factory, paint spraying car parts, and he also took on grueling work as a construction worker. This was the kind of physically demanding job that builds real foundational grit. Imagine a young Christian Cage, years before the championships and the roar of the crowd, waking up at dawn for a long day of heavy lifting and hard labor. It's a world away from sports entertainment, but it instilled in him a toughness and a work ethic that can't be faked. While other aspiring wrestlers were only learning to take bumps in a ring, he was learning about physical strain and endurance on a real construction site. That blue-collar background gave him a unique edge and a chip on his shoulder. When he felt he'd hit a ceiling in WWE, he bet on himself and left for TNA, where he became a main event star and built a new legacy from the ground up, much like he once built structures with his hands. His incredible longevity and ability to reinvent himself over 3 decades comes from that foundational work ethic, forged not under the bright lights, but on dusty, noisy construction sites. Number 6, Spike Dudley, teacher's aide and financial advisor. In a land of giants, Spike Dudley stood out by being proudly, defiantly small. As the runt of the litter of the infamous Dudley Boys, Spike became an ECW and Attitude Era icon for his fearless, almost reckless style. He was the ultimate underdog, famous for taking an insane amount of punishment for the roar of the crowd. But his life before, and especially after wrestling, couldn't be more different from the hardcore table-crashing world he once dominated. Before he was Spike Dudley, Matthew Hyson was on a totally different and far more conventional path. And this is where it gets wild. After earning an English degree, he worked as a third-grade teacher's aide. It's a truly stunning image. Picture the man who would later be powerbombed through flaming tables, patiently helping 8-year-olds with their homework and class projects. It's the perfect example of how the characters we see on screen are just one part of a much larger, more complex person. After his memorable runs in ECW and WWE, Hyson made another, even more shocking career change. He stepped away from the world of body slams and entered the world of stocks and bonds. Today, Spike Dudley works as a financial advisor, having worked for major firms like Merrill Lynch. That's right. The hardcore legend who quoted Shakespeare as blood dripped down his face now helps people plan for retirement and manage their investments, swapping his signature tie-dye shirts for a suit and tie. He's even stated a desire to help other wrestlers plan for their financial futures, knowing firsthand how quickly a wrestling career can end. His role even involves helping grieving families navigate the process of inheriting assets. It's one of the most stunning post-wrestling career changes in history and shows that a career built on taking dangerous bumps isn't designed for the long haul. For Spike, transitioning to a field that relied on his brain instead of his body was a surprisingly smart and respectable move. And just like that, we're halfway through. We've seen AJ Styles go from delivering water to delivering 5-star classics. We learned Brandy Rhodes was a competitive figure skater and a news anchor. The Usos installed office furniture with Roman Reigns. Christian Cage was a construction worker, and hardcore icon Spike Dudley now works in the world of high finance. The stories have been incredible, but believe me, we're just getting started. The next 5 are just as surprising and inspiring, so don't go anywhere. Number 5, Cody Rhodes, bartender. He's the man who finished the story. The American Nightmare. Cody Rhodes has had one of the most compelling and triumphant career arcs in modern wrestling history, going from a WWE mid-carder to a co-founder of AEW and back to become the undisputed WWE champion. As the son of the legendary American Dream Dusty Rhodes, you'd think his path was a straight line to the top. But even for the son of a legend, the road can have a few necessary detours. Before fully committing to the family business, Cody was determined to find his own identity outside of his father's massive, inescapable shadow. He briefly attended acting school and, for a time, worked one of the most classic, paying your dues jobs out there. He was a bartender. It's a job that requires a unique and surprisingly relevant skill set for a future pro wrestler. Behind the bar, you have to be a performer, a crowd pleaser, a therapist, and a multitasking wizard all at once. It's a crash course in reading a room and connecting with people from all walks of life, skills that are absolutely essential for a top-tier superstar. This period was a conscious effort for him to not just be seen as Dusty's son, but to be Cody Rhodes, a man with his own experiences and his own skills. When he eventually left WWE, reinvented himself on the independent scene, and returned as the American Nightmare, he wasn't just the son of a legend anymore. He was a fully formed superstar whose connection with the audience was undeniable and organic. That ability to command a crowd was forged not only in wrestling rings around the world, but also from his time behind a bar, learning how to connect with people one conversation at a time. Number 4, Vickie Guerrero. Medical office administrator, excuse me. With just 2 words, Vickie Guerrero became one of the greatest and most despised heel characters of the 21st century. She was a pure heat magnet who could generate a level of crowd reaction that most on-screen villains can only dream of. Her story is unique on this list because her normal job came after her rise to fame, and it's a perfect example of finding and building a new life for yourself outside the wrestling bubble. Vickie entered the wrestling world following the tragic passing of her husband, the legendary Eddie Guerrero. Though she started as a sympathetic figure, she quickly discovered a natural talent for being unlikably brilliant on screen, and her transformation into a power-hungry, shrieking general manager was a stroke of genius. In 2014, after nearly a decade in the spotlight, Vicky made the deliberate decision to step away from WWE to pursue a completely new career. While still working for the company, she started taking classes in healthcare administration. After her emotional farewell on Monday Night Raw, she fully committed to her education, eventually graduating from Herzing University with a Bachelor of Science degree. She then became certified as a medical office administrator and was hired by a pharmaceutical company. The woman whose on-screen persona was all about generating chaos and screaming at the top of her lungs was now working in the highly organized, professional, and quiet world of healthcare. It was a complete 180 and a powerful statement. Vicky proved that it's never too late to go back to school, learn a new trade, and completely reinvent yourself on your own terms, long after the roar of the crowd has faded. Number 3, Matt Sydal, Vice President of Marketing and Sales. To fans of high-flying wrestling, Matt Sydal is a true revolutionary. Known in WWE as Evan Bourne, his breathtaking airborne finisher, a shooting star press that seemed to hang in the air for an eternity, was one of the most spectacular moves in the company. But before he was taking flight in wrestling rings across the globe, he was climbing the corporate ladder in a surprisingly conventional 9-to-5 job. While many on this list worked jobs just to get by while chasing their dream, Matt Sydal was building a genuinely successful corporate career. After graduating with a degree in marketing, he landed a job at a direct mail marketing company in St. Louis called NMT. He quickly rose through the ranks to become the company's vice president of sales and marketing. This wasn't a part-time gig to pay for wrestling school. It was a serious, white-collar career with a corner office and a 6-figure salary. All the while, he was living a double life. By day, he was a marketing executive in boardrooms, developing strategies and managing sales teams. By night and on weekends, he was an up-and-coming indie wrestler, honing his craft in promotions like Ring of Honor. He was essentially working 2 full-time jobs, one for his wallet and one for his soul. Eventually, the inevitable moment came where he had to make a choice: the safe, lucrative corporate path or the massive, terrifying risk of pursuing his wrestling dream full-time. He chose the dream. He quit his VP job and dedicated himself completely to the ring. The bet paid off spectacularly as he became a fan-favorite star in WWE, TNA, and AEW. He traded a corner office for the top rope and created a legacy as one of the most exciting and innovative aerial artists of his time. Number 2, Becky Lynch, flight attendant. She is the man. She is Big Time Bex. She was one of the first women to main event WrestleMania and is, without a doubt, one of the most popular and influential superstars of her era. But Becky Lynch's path to the top was long, winding, and filled with so much doubt that it even included a 7-year period where she quit wrestling entirely. Born Rebecca Quinn in Ireland, she started training as a wrestler at just 15 years old. She showed immense promise, but a severe head injury during a match in Germany in 2006 changed everything. The injury was diagnosed as potential damage to her 8th cranial nerve, causing painful headaches, blurred vision, and a loud buzzing in her ear. The experience, coupled with depression, led her to quit the business she loved at just 19 years old. For the next 7 years, she tried to find a new path, to be someone other than a wrestler. She worked as a waitress, a pizza chef, and even a stuntwoman. But most notably, following in her mother's footsteps, she worked for 2.5 years as a flight attendant for the Irish airline Aer Lingus. For years, the future WrestleMania main eventer was serving drinks and giving safety demonstrations on transatlantic flights. She has said that while the job taught her how to handle the grueling travel schedule of a future WWE superstar, she felt trapped, unfulfilled, and woke up every day with a gnawing feeling in her stomach that she wasn't where she was meant to be. She eventually found her way back to a wrestling gym, and the old passion was immediately reignited. In 2013, she earned a WWE contract, and the rest is history. Her organic transformation into the man in 2018 created a connection with the audience that was pure lightning in a bottle. Her journey from a retired wrestler working as a flight attendant to a trailblazing, glass-ceiling-shattering champion is one of the most inspiring comeback stories in all of wrestling. Number 1. John Cena. Limo Drive. For an entire generation, he was the face of WWE, culture icon. John Cena is firmly on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, but before he, and a famously terrible sense of direction. After graduating from college in Massachusetts, Cena moved to California in 1999 to pursue a career in bodybuilding, arriving with very little money, around $500 to his name. His father famously told him he'd be home with his tail between his legs in 2 weeks. To make ends meet, he worked odd jobs, including folding towels at Gold's Gym, and most famously, a very short-lived career as a limousine driver. At one point, money was so tight, he was homeless, living out of his roomy 1991 Lincoln Continental. There was just one big problem with his limo job. This was before everyone had a GPS in their pocket. And having grown up in a small town, Cena had no idea how to navigate the sprawling chaos of Los Angeles. He has said he was absolutely terrible at the job, constantly getting lost and showing up hours late to pick up clients for their flights. He joked that he earned every single curse word thrown his way by angry passengers, admitting they came up with some creative insults he'd never heard before. Unsurprisingly, his career as a limo driver was very, very brief. It was while working at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach that a fellow patron encouraged him to try pro wrestling, leading him to join the school at Ultimate Pro Wrestling. He developed the prototype character and was soon signed by WWE around to becoming the undisputed compass of WWE for over a decade. His journey is the ultimate embodiment of hustle, loyalty, and respect. And there you have it, 10 wrestling superstars with surprisingly normal jobs before they hit it big. From financial advisors to flight attendants, their stories are a powerful reminder that almost everyone starts from humble beginnings. Which wrestler's former job surprised you the most? Was it Spike Dudley, the financial planner, or John? We love reading your thoughts and theories. If you enjoyed this look into the secret histories of your favorite wrestlers, please hit that like button, share this video with a friend who needs some inspiration, and be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We've got a lot more content like this coming your way.